Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Real Talk. We're going to talk about real estate, real conversation, and real fun. And today I have a real special guest. So welcome, Jeff Mays.
Hello.
So Jeff Mays is my business coach. So we're going to talk a lot about real estate, being coachable, or maybe not, and also a lot about what it takes to be successful and why you might want to consider getting a business coach too. So welcome, Jeff.
Thank you for having me, Karen.
Yeah. So Jeff, you're with Tom Ferry organization, correct?
Yes.
All right. So tell us about coaching and obviously who you are and what you do.
So a little bit about myself. I'm in Richmond, Virginia, and I got in real estate in the early 90s. And I was very fortunate to run into Tom Ferry early in my career. And I can remember many of us we go to these events and I was in the back of the room and Tom starts asking some questions and starts practicing and role playing. And I was like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say that. He caught my attention.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate in the first year. I actually joined coaching in the early 90s.
Well, that's crazy.
So I've been around this for over 30 some years, Karen.
Yeah. And how long have you been coaching?
I've been a coach for probably 8 years, but I also have been a sales manager. What I'm known for is for probably about 15 years, I ran my family's business, and we had probably 40 to 50 agents, and our average agent was doing per person probably about 24 deals a year. So I've been around high level performance around agents and their production since early on in my career.
A lot of times in a listing appointment or talking to a client, it comes up that I have a business coach. Okay. They look at me like I have 3 heads. They don't even understand it. And depending on the personality of the client, they're either overwhelmed by it or super impressed. They're like, wow, you have a business coach? So talk about what you do with coaching. So you coach me once a week.
That's right.
And then you coach the team once every 2 weeks. So how much of your business is team level and how much of your clients and coaching are individuals?
Probably I coach about 70 clients and about a third of them are team clients. So I do coach very similar teams like you are right now. And to me, I think coaching is about figuring out what you want. What do you want to be when you grow up to some degree? And
please tell me.
That's right. We're all looking for that. But I think to some degree is finding out what are your goals? What are some pain points in your business? What are some things you need to work on? And I usually prepare for every call with a bunch of questions. We obviously review what we did in the past week. We talk about the goals and things we want to accomplish in the next week. But many times we have these difficult situations that come up. You know, we role play, we practice. And I think that's the key. Most people join coaching for more accountability, for the things that they know they should be doing, but they just really aren't.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. What have you gotten from coaching?
Oh my goodness. My production has produced 7, 8 times. So when I first started, coaching is, in my opinion, and I tell everybody this, 50% mindset.
That's right.
And 50% accountability, ideas, problems. Yep. I actually got a call from an agent in New Jersey a couple of days ago that was thinking about joining coaching. And he said something. And I'm like, well, you're not going to be talking about like a deal. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, no, I never say, oh, 123 Main Street, we're $5,000 apart.
Right. We're not in those details.
No, we are not talking transactions. We're talking big picture.
Big picture.
Growth. Some problems. I mean, as you know, there's been a lot going on.
That's right.
And I know one of my, fellow Tom Ferry ecosystem people is working specifically on mindset with their coach because it's a tough business.
That's right. I think mindset is the key, especially this summer with all these changes happening, don't you?
Absolutely. So what is your favorite thing about coaching?
I just love changing people's lives. I love when I get that text like, hey, that conversation that we role played in practice, it got me that listing or it got me that sale. I love seeing the growth in agents' business and taking them to a new level. Sometimes the coach believes in you more than themselves to some degree. So I want to inspire people. I want to motivate them. I want to get them thinking. I want them to remember that call, at least until our next call, to have something to look forward to.
Well, get the golden nugget, right?
That's right. That's right.
I obviously, it's been a rough couple of years. Let's own it. And my business has been consistent, and
been
I
really
should
good
be
considering
very
everything
thankful.
you got going on.
Correct. But I tell this story to quite a few people recently. I was not in a good mood one day, and I was freaking out about business with inventory and listings, and I was having basically a mini meltdown. And I said to you, do I just say, sorry, F it, and just enjoy my daughter's shower and just not care about business? And when it comes, it comes. Do you remember that day?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And you basically told me, yeah, it will happen. Just like basically shut up, Karen. It's going to be okay. And just enjoy the ride.
Right.
And it's so funny.
Be present, be in the moment, right?
Because I said, I have said to many people that right now, thank God, we're very, very busy, which I'm thrilled. And have done a lot over the past 6 months to get us back, me back to where I want to be. I can't imagine having to have Madison's wedding and the shower and everything. I would not have been able to be present. So I kind of look at it as a gift in a way, because, we do talk a lot about balance, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And balance is a big thing in real estate, but it's hard to achieve, right?
Very much so. I said we don't talk about transactions, but I also had 3 horrible transactions.
I remember that call. I remember that call.
And I was just like, I am so responsible for so many lives, which we always are in real estate. But I was overwhelmed with the responsibility of really keeping, like, not families together, but they were dependent on these transactions. So I think it's 50% mindset, 50% ideas, growth. I'm really not great at that whole financial P&L stuff, as you know.
Right.
Talk about numbers. So I used to be obsessed with my numbers.
Okay. Tracking and measuring, looking at what you're
Tracking
doing.
and measuring.
Right.
Then, and I hate to keep saying this, but things happened and I couldn't track and keep score of everything because it was too much pressure on me. I just had to get healthy. So I'm getting back into the groove. Like, I know what's happening. Why is it so important for real estate agents, no matter who you are and how much business you do, to know how many under contract, sold, your GCI, how many actives, what's in your pipeline? Why is that so important, Jeff?
I think, numbers are the language of business, and it really doesn't matter what language we speak, but numbers tell a story.
Yeah, they tell the truth.
Not tracking, right? You see that.
Yeah.
And if you're not looking at the numbers, and I think in real estate, we've always got to be thinking 2 to 3 months out. And many times the failures that I see agents do is they don't plan ahead. They don't see the future. They don't see what it's going to look like in 2, 3, 6 months. And then most agents, they flame out. They're busy and they focus on the deals, and then they recognize I need to start my business over again. And that's why most have this real estate roller coaster.
Yeah.
And that's why most people only make it, or they don't make it after 18 months. They're over and done because they're not really tracking their numbers. They're not tracking their conversions. They're not tracking the conversations that they're having on a daily and weekly basis.
And also putting everything in a system so it gets done. Meaning, like, everything is spelled out in a marketing calendar, in, your client care. Everything is spelled out, because if it's not planned, it does not get done.
That's right.
Yeah.
Karen, I've always said a system is just a checklist that you follow.
Yeah.
And most agents, they have their system in their head and they never spend the time to put it down in writing, create that checklist. So it's very hard for them to hire someone else. It's very hard when you're not doing that, when you bring on other team members or you hire a staff member or a TC or a listing coordinator, because it's all in their head. We got to get all these ideas out in a checklist. And to me, that is the system, is following that checklist. And most agents, they really don't have a process. I just recently erased my board before
you did. I told you not to.
I know. It said, what is your process to take listings consistently?
Yeah.
And most agents, they don't have a process.
Well,
and they're not really running.
That's what I'm preparing for Summit for Tom Ferry.
That's right.
Basically the board game, right? Of all the steps, the attraction for listings, the meeting, and then once you get the listing, how do you get it to close? So it's so true. You have to have that consistent procedure.
How often do you look at that process?
Oh, a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot. We're always adding things, deleting things. And right now, making sure, right now, what we do a lot, meaning marketing. So instead of changing things so much, how can you just make things better that you already have in place?
That's right. How can we improve on what we do really well?
Correct. Like
focus on efficiency.
Yeah. Focus on the 5 things that you are rock star at and just make those better. I think that's
so real
so
quick.
Key.
What is the audience going to come away from your talk? What are they going to learn?
I don't know, that we do a lot. What are they going to learn? That coaching is very valuable.
Right.
That mindset is 50% of it or more, actually. And you need to have systems in place to have a business. It is a business. We were talking about numbers and everything, and this is not a brag, but when we go to the summit, halfway through the summit, there's whoever has over $1 million in GCI, please stand up. Do you remember those questions?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
And so basically check your systems. How much is your GCI for the year so far? It's August. And I will never forget, I did it. It was like $1,028,000 in August. And I was like, oh my God, I get to stand up. Right.
Yeah.
And there's how many people at the summit?
Oh, there's probably 6,500.
And how many people stand up?
Oh, not even probably 10%.
Yeah. So it's a really great stand up. I hope he does it again this year, because August is like that crucial time in my brain. Now we have a different number because business is expensive to run, but you better be at a certain number to stand up in that room, because it is a crazy room. I mean, we're doing a lot of real estate, but there's people in that room doing, 500 deals, 1,000 deals. Like, we are a peon in that room in comparison.
Karen, you mentioned that you're rolling right now. I truly think you and your group have been working hard all year, and it's a testament to your leadership. They're rolling right now because of what they did in January, February, and March.
Yeah. Why join a team, do you think? I mean, there's great individuals too. There's some people that want to be individual. There's some people that want to be a team. So why be a team?
I think real estate can be a lonely business.
That's why I joined coaching.
That's right. You can be in your head and you can overthink things. I think most people need that camaraderie, that going to the office, like that accountability that comes from that all the things that we talked about, tracking and measuring your numbers. They need to bounce ideas off other people. If not, it can be a really, really lonely business. And then when things change, when things are happening, we know there's a lot of changes in our industry right now. People get in their head and they get really scared, and then they become paralyzed.
Yeah.
And they don't do anything. So I think that's the main reason to join.
I have my list of questions here and topics. That's why I'm looking at my phone.
Thanks for preparing me for those questions.
Of course. Well. Yeah, there's some of them that are a little bit trick questions here. So what's your least favorite thing about coaching?
I see the potential in agents and they don't believe in themselves. I wish I could give agents this, real estate is a lot about confidence, and I try my best to inspire them and improve their confidence. But I just see the greatness in some agents, and they're playing scared. They're not leaning into it. If you do more than 2 or 3 deals a year, you're probably one of the better agents in our industry, as crazy as that sounds, because that's the average. So if you're doing 12 or 18 deals, you're 4 to 5, 6 times better than the average agent.
Yeah, and you could be so much better too.
Totally.
Yeah. So speaking of agents and your clients, so most of your clients, especially,
You're the best, by the way.
oh, of course, yeah, we won't tell anybody else that because no one else will hear this.
I'm just kidding.
So we're drivers. We have strong personalities.
Totally.
We are complete control freaks. I mean, everybody
right.
I know in this ecosystem of
That's
Tom
right.
Ferry pretty much fills
We
this.
don't like to delegate. These
We
are our
don't like,
baby, these deals. We don't want to give them away, right?
yeah. So how do you manage us? Because we're a lot. Like I'm a lot.
I think I've come from a place now of like, what's the next step? What are we going to work on? Many people are on step 5 and they never get to step 1. So to me, handling that driver personality that we know we can be all over the place is, to me, I want to leave the call with what's our goal? What's the next step? That's a great idea. But what's the first step? And let's start there. To me, is kind of keeping it simple, and having a plan, but making sure that we have a commitment for the next week. What are we going to work on? What are we going to work on? What are we going to do to move the needle this week is the key with, I found, for driver agents to some degree.
So do you ever hang up and go, what the heck? Like they're being batshit?
I think we all have those feelings with everybody in our industry. I think everybody is somewhat crazy in our industry.
Yeah.
When I have that thought, I usually reach out to them maybe later on that evening or send them a text or maybe driving home. Remember that time I called you on the way home? Because I feel like we're in this together. So I'm going to just reach out to them and just come from a different place and maybe just making sure that they got what we had talked about earlier on that call.
So it's sunk in. They got the nugget. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because in this industry, if you're hiring people, working with people, you always want to make sure they're coachable, right?
Right.
And I have said to people like, hey, if my coach says to me to do something, we're going to do it. Now, I'm not going to jump off a bridge if you guys go tell me to do it.
Right.
I came home and bought a moving van because I needed like a billboard, right? Which like literally wrote a check for a moving van. That's crazy. You said to me and Tom said to me, one of my faults was I was too scripted in video. So start a podcast. So I started a podcast. Be
yourself. Be Karen. We love Karen. Just be yourself.
Just be yourself instead of being like on a teleprompter, for the good or bad, right? Am I coachable?
You are 100% coachable, because I can tell you, I can give you an idea. You know, to me, part of coaching too is we hear so many great ideas, and I could hear an idea on the previous call and be like, hey, this is what's working right now. And I know there's been times where I've given you these ideas and within a day or two, you're texting me like already done, or at least by the next call, you make it happen. I think there is, you know, in real estate, we all have somewhat of an ego. And I think when it's like, you know, the best of the best do have coaches, and they adjust, and they take things to heart. They let it sink in. They may be mad for a moment or two, but then they realize that, you know, let me give it a shot. Let me try it out. Let's at least test it out. And that's the way I can tell whether someone is coachable or not. Whether they're going to do it or not is it's ultimately, it's your business and your career. But to me, the best are coachable.
I think it's so interesting though, because we're control freaks, we're drivers, and we're coachable. That seems, I think that comes down to also being super competitive, and wanting things to be better. So I think that's really what the blend is.
And I do think in the Tom Ferry ecosystem, I mean, we're around just big time players that are doing amazing stuff. I can remember, you know, I'm down in Richmond, Virginia, and we lived in our own little bubble. And then we go out to California.
Oh my God, it's horrible.
And we're like, yeah, but then it was almost like, holy, we thought we were great doing 40 deals a year. And we're like, somebody's doing 120 or 200 or 300. And it just expands what your thinking is. I think it's thinking bigger is really the whole idea of this organization, is thinking a little bit bigger and planning ahead to some degree.
Sales edge.
Yes.
So you are a national speaker for Tom Ferry.
Yes.
And if you're in real estate, you don't know Tom Ferry, I always say, check him out and check out the ecosystem. So that's all about scripting and using the right words.
Sales edge is we find out what the best of the best are saying. you know, we know there's a lot of changes going on in the next month or so, and we've got to say the right things at the right time. So what we're doing is we're practicing, we're giving you dialogues that are working around for sale owners, past customers, our sphere, what to say at an open house, what to say on a buyer consultation, what to say on a listing presentation, what to say with these kind of objections and challenges we're facing around this settlement that just happened. So we're giving you the best, and it also allows you to practice and role play.
Yeah.
Now, agents hate practicing and role play.
It depends on their environment. If they're at KPG, they're practicing and role playing.
They are practicing.
Because why practice on a customer? It's too big of an investment by the consumer to practice on them. You have to know what to say.
And your crew is practicing and getting better, and I can hear it almost on a weekly basis. They're improving their confidence.
Yeah.
And they're saying the right things. And you know, in these Super Bowl moments that we have in these situations with buyers and sellers, it can be the difference between making a sale or not making a sale, or getting a commission or not getting a commission, or taking that listing or not. Or it could be a win or a loss real quickly. So we've got to make sure we're definitely saying it in the right way.
You said to me, what do I want people to take away from this? One thing that I think is really important, and you mentioned about being in the big room and big ideas. Every speech I've always done on a stage or, you know, on podcast or whatever, I always say, you need to adapt the idea into your business. It could be this huge idea. Okay, well then bring it down and make it great for you. You don't have to always be, you know, doing the huge idea, break it down and then make it adapted into your business plan. Because then that is the best thing you can do. So I always think that's one of my biggest takeaways.
I think too, we can't compare someone's chapter 8 to our chapter 2. It's, you gotta recognize where you are in this process and just take away what you can learn from that or how you can improve. I think we compare ourselves too much to so many people.
That's my biggest problem.
Right. But I look at it like I get inspired. I go, if they can do it, I can do it. Use it as an inspiration to some degree.
Definitely. And take little pieces of it and bring it back to you.
Totally.
So we've talked a lot about this week, professionalism, confidence, and work ethic. Yes. So why do you think that's always been who we are? I think I do have, I may fall over today because my work ethic's a little on fire. But why do you think that's even more important with all the changes in the industry?
I think the cream will rise to the top. And I think we're going to see a lot of that in the next 6 months to a year. Yes. I think there's been a lot of people that have been in our industry that maybe shouldn't be in our industry. I got to be honest, I'm not a big fan of part-time agents. And I think some part-time agents are really scared or a little nervous right now. And they're probably going to say or do the wrong things. And I think the key is we've just always constant, never-ending improvement is the goal, especially around Tom Ferry. I think as an agent, if you can show you care, if you can listen and ask great questions, you're halfway there to make it.
But you have to know what the heck you're doing and talking about.
Totally. You cannot just show up and write a contract. It's no longer this easy market. So we've all got to improve what we're doing to some degree. We got to improve our listing presentation, our buyer presentation, and constantly improving what we're doing.
And also improving what you're doing will show more value, more professionalism, and it will make you more confident. So you will get the business because the consumer trusts you. That's right. That's what it comes down to.
Because at the end of the day, we sell trust. Correct. They either believe us, they either trust us.
Yeah. And as I said, they have to understand that there's no reason to work with anybody else.
That's it.
All right. So what do you like to do for fun?
I love playing golf with my son. He just recently graduated from college. And
we've talked about that.
I've got 2 corgis. Yeah. I like to play tennis. I'm not that good at golf, but I do play every now and then, like I mentioned. I love traveling with my fiance. We got engaged last year in Italy. Everybody's
Yeah.
asking me when we're going to get married.
Yeah, I wasn't going to ask that question, but go
I
ahead.
put it, that's on her. I said,
Okay.
hey, you got to plan this. So I'm ready to go.
Well,
So
she's
it's
beautiful. So you're
I
both very
appreciate it.
lucky. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's
But
awesome.
we've got to have that balance. We got to have fun. This is why we do this business. We got to work hard and we got to play hard.
Absolutely. Well, there is a saying, work hard, play hard.
That's right.
Yeah, sales
That is.
does get fun sometimes. Yeah. People are like, you guys have a lot of fun at KPG, but you have to have fun. You have to blow off
You
some
got to do
steam.
it.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
So, well, Mr. Mays, Jeff, thank you so much. Is there anything
Karen,
else you
you're the
want to
best. I
add
appreciate this.
before we go here today? Any last tip?
For agents out there, I just think practice what you're doing, find out what the best are doing. And I'm a big believer in having a coach, whether it's with Tom Ferry or whoever. We need some accountability. We need somebody to bounce these ideas off of. So at least, hey, if we're in this industry, let's give it our all. Let's try to do our best is the key.
Well, because there's a lot of greatness to be around. That's for darn sure.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Jeff. I will
Karen.
see you Tuesday at 11:30. All right.
Let's do it.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you all.